Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. In this week's show, we are going to recap Fight to Win 220 in Austin, Texas, headlined by Oliver Taza versus Ben Eddy, as well as some of the undercard matches. We are also going to preview the Spyder Invitational that's happening this weekend, as well as some other cards, including Midwest Finishers and a few others. As always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, and my co-host,
Miranda.
Hey, doing, Miranda?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. We just got done training. For me, it was a double session, and we're like, let's do the podcast. So
yeah,
Sunday night, always a good time to do the podcast. And as we know, when we do the show on Sunday and it comes out Tuesday, that Monday we're going to get a bunch of releases about Spyder. Luckily, we just got one.
Yeah.
That Damian Maya is actually going to be competing on Spyder. And we wouldn't have known that if we did the podcast, if we didn't, head in the podcast an hour earlier. So,
yeah.
Always exciting. Do we have any news this week?
I don't think so. I don't think we've had a lot going on this week, which is good. We need a week without,
McGregor's fighting Chandler, and Francis Ngannou's not in the UFC. We're not really an MMA podcast, but I hate that I'm still pretty excited about that fight.
It'll be fun.
And then Derek Lewis got head and arm choked this weekend by Sergey.
And Fedor.
Fedor, yeah.
Fedor
beat Fedor.
Yeah.
That's the MMA recap for this week. I've been watching more MMA recently because I'm just trying to... I really like combat sports, and I'm remembering that I do. Honestly, ONE FC was kind of a push into that. I was like, hey, I like just watching
I forget.
sports.
I used to almost every weekend watch UFC events and all Bellator and
now it's just the grappling
Strike Force.
Constantly.
Yeah, Strike Force and all those fun things. And I miss
You went to
watching
Strike
them.
Force cards, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to a Strike Force card. I've been to a Bellator card. Been to almost all of them, basically.
Yep. I just booked today.
ONE FC?
ONE FC.
Nice.
So Rachel and I are flying out. We booked our flights. We booked our stuff to watch Demetrius Johnson take on Marias in Denver. So I'm super excited to go and do that. Hopefully get some training out in Denver first week of May for Rachel and I's birthday.
Oh, that's awesome.
That will be awesome. So I'm super excited. We missed the cheap flights and cheap tickets, so we paid a little more than I wanted to, but we haven't gone out there in a couple of years to see family, so it'll be fun to go out to Denver and go do that. So we'll probably talk about that a little more in the intro. I don't really think we have any news. You see anything else on there?
No, there's nothing else I can see that's going on.
Let's get into the recap. Fight to Win 220. Let's start with... Want to start with the main event or the co-main event?
We can do co-main first.
So Helena Krovar versus Tatiana Kravik. Can you give her last name?
I think it's Kravik.
Helena Carver extends her Fight to Win kind of reign as I think she has the most. She has the most wins in Fight to Win history.
Yeah,
and Seth said it on the broadcast, and I didn't write it down. I forgot how many wins it is, but so we're gonna see more from Krovar. Krovar is now I'm not sure if we talked about this on the podcast. She moved to Austin, Texas to train with New Wave, with John and Gordon. There was a discussion a couple months ago, basically John going, why do you... It was a question to John or from John of, why don't you have any women champions? And we're looking for the right woman to come in. It was probably a couple months ago, and there were a few women that have dropped in, like Maggie Grindotti, who's on an upcoming card as well. She has left Fight Sports and is now... look like she's been training with Gordon at New Wave. We have Helena, who's now at New Wave. We're seeing some very, very high-level women come over to New Wave, and now seeing Helena compete on this Fight to Win really hammers home, oh yeah, this could be the camp switch that puts her into the next level. I mean, we saw her live at West Coast Trials.
Yeah.
We've seen her for years as a child on Fight to Win. I think she's 17 right now.
16, I think.
16 or 17.
I'm trying to see how many times she's won Fight to Win, but it's not
I think
as easy to find as I thought it would be.
I think she's 30 something.
Yeah,
I think
it's something
few.
Significantly high.
Yeah. So she gets this done in about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
From the jump. Beautiful overhead balloon sweep, foot on the hips, kind of like a variation of a Tominagi, but from the seated position. Over.
Yeah, but she goes straight to the back. Doesn't even go to mount.
Which is something you don't see people do with a ton of frequency. Usually you're taking over to the guard or maybe into mount.
Yeah.
She's able to combo this move
so almost like a tornado, armbar, sort of, kind of. When you tornado armbar somebody.
Yep.
I had a coach that liked to do that to all the brand new white belts. It's just what they used to do to everybody. So you got used to being flown through the air.
Yeah, it's a good learning. I think as a coach is a really good learning tool to show hey, I can do this to you, and there's a lot more than the basics. Like, there are these other things as well. But the way that Helena hits this, she gets to the back. She then, it's really like 2 minutes. Gets to the back, bellies down, Tatiana, and then works for a rear naked choke. There's not too much, you know, she has a nice body triangle in for a while.
You're adding an extra syllable into her name. I think it's Tatina. There's no extra syllable.
Oh,
in there.
Tatina, you're right.
Yeah.
My bad.
No worries.
I was thinking of Tatiana Suarez.
Yeah.
Tatina, Helena just controls the back beautifully.
Yeah.
You know, not a lot of flair. Pizzazz, bellies are down, finishes it, and then takes another win at Fight to Win, now locally to her in Austin, Texas.
Yeah. What a great performance for her.
Yeah, kind of continues the streak on Fight to Win. We are going to see big things from her. It would not surprise me to see her win at Trials in the next year.
Yeah.
Or in the next, especially in the next cycle, next 2 years, East or West Coast Trials. She looked really good. I actually, I was the judge for her open matches for most of them. I got to watch her game up close for ADCC.
She lost to,
was it Jasmine?
No, it was the other,
Can you give me a camp?
Aries.
Clay.
Yeah.
Yeah. At West Coast Trials.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was a good match,
I don't think she did East Coast because I don't remember her at East Coast. And I would have saw her because we would have made a comment about the hair, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because by that time we didn't really know who she... Well, we knew she was, but we didn't really know.
I think she was at East Coast. I think she was there. I don't know why, but I think she was there.
Yeah, but who would have beat her?
I don't remember because the women's division for East Coast isn't a qualifier, so we kind of focused a little less on that. Like, we watched the division.
But I watched a lot of the matches. I don't remember her.
I think she was there. Because I thought... Regardless, looks phenomenal here, and look out for her to win at Trials. Again, watching her do the Open was just wild. In Vegas at ADCC was just like, oh, you know, being the person that has to judge and score as the judge at ADCC was like, put into perspective, like, wow, she is.
Who coached her? Do you remember?
I don't know. I didn't recognize the coach.
Okay.
But her parents were there.
Yeah, because her parents are normally
but now
there.
she's at New Wave with John and Gordon and all those folks. Would not surprise me to see her continue to just ramp up and get better and better and better. And again, deservedly co-main for Fight to Win. Anything else on the match?
No.
Moving on to the next match, we had Oliver Taza taking on Ben Eddy. Again, Ben Eddy and Taza are two guys that kind of bounce weight and are happy to fight between. I think Taza here was a bit bigger than Ben Eddy.
Yeah.
But with Taza's game, that's usually not something that he really leverages against. And in this match, I don't know if it really mattered at all.
No, I don't think it really did.
Yeah, this was fun.
Ben pulls.
Yeah, actually, Taza pulled eventually and swept Eddy over, but Eddy was very kind of happy to take bottom position. The finishing sequence was a neat. I watched it a couple of times. It was a kind of a neat leg lock exchange, and you kind of broke it down, I think, in the pre-show better than I even did. Yeah,
it was. Ben Eddy goes for a reverse De La Riva.
Yeah.
But he left his other leg kind of chilling.
He was like almost like he was going to pull it across and like do something like kind of make space on Taza or invert under. It looked like he had a plan on the entry.
And that's the problem with, that position in general is your other leg is kind of there. And because you're in reverse De La Riva, that leg is kind of compromised in that position.
Yeah, well, it's not attached to anything.
Yeah.
And so Taza is one of the best topside leg lockers, like that knee bar that he has from the bottom.
Yeah.
But we also will know he will do this exact same entry if you leave your leg out, and Taza goes, oh, cool. He jumps onto the topside leg and he kind of crosses over, not like outside 50-50. I'm actually forgetting the exact position of the legs now. But he uses the grip that we see. I'm trying to think of. It's really a grip that I know Taza and Gary Tonin use it more than any other person. It's the hand-over-hand grip. They don't heel hook.
It's the butterfly grip.
The butterfly grip. Yeah. They don't heel hook with like the forearm with their palm to palm.
Yeah.
They bring their palms across their own arms, and they do it with almost like the mechanisms rotation like the whole shoulders.
Yeah.
They're not just rotating the arms.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of guys talk about it, and we see a lot of guys like teach it, but Taza is one of the few guys that I see use it in competition.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that regularly uses it in competition in a way that a lot of guys will like situationally use it. It is his preferred finish. Camera angle is great here. Comes down at, and you see just the torque he puts. He pulls back, pulls over, and Ben Eddy is sort of trapped into the mat because the direction that Ben Eddy would need to roll to get out of this is the direction that like Taza's kind of blocking his hip into.
Yeah.
And so Ben Eddy kind of gets trapped there and has to tap.
Yeah.
I think Fight to Win added, they've had it for a little bit, but there's a camera up on, like it's a higher camera. Okay. It's like an overhead, like 45-degree camera. I love that camera angle.
It's a good camera angle because sometimes you can't see from like a normal, you don't really want an above. Because I mean, you sometimes
Polaris uses the above, and like
and
it's
the above
very
is okay,
situational.
But sometimes you need like a middle, middle ground. You need almost like a floating camera at that point.
It's great. I mean, I love. There's a couple shots, a couple times they cut to it in this match where I was like, "Ooh, that's a really nice camera angle."
I do like that more than the floating camera. That like not submission on the shore, but submission.
Everyone. So the mat side camera with like the person. Yeah, I like that camera a lot. Everyone is not a huge fan of that. I love that camera.
I don't mind it, but I get annoyed by it sometimes. And as a competitor, if you shove a camera like that in my face, I'm gonna get mad at you.
So I filmed an entire super fight we did locally like that, and then cut between it, and the footage is great because if you stand too close, it's really kind of off-putting. But if you stand far enough away, you can get really, really cool shots.
I was watching them at at least the first one. They were getting up in people's faces.
Yeah, you can't get too close with it. But again, I think Fight to Win did a great job.
Yeah.
I like that kind of on the mat camera. If you're far enough away, and there's a Korean event, not Royal. Oh, I'm gonna blank on the name. Sub Royal. I think it's Sub Royal. That uses that camera angle there. It's like a gimbal camera on the mat. It is some of the best camera work of any event. We talked about it probably 2018, 2019.
Okay.
They film all the matches for their tournaments kind of like that, and it's beautiful camera footage.
Oh,
so,
great.
Again, Fight to Win on Fight, we're seeing some changes, and I'm really liking it.
You said you liked the audio.
Yeah, the commentator audio was like really, really clear for the matches, and sometimes it's like it's blown out a little bit. This time it was super clean, super clear, and they were talking through, and it was. I think on Fight they're making some changes, or at least I'm perceiving some changes.
Yeah,
and I'm really happy. Again, I love the Fight to Win has the whole fucking name. They have the whole name on the broadcast, and they have it up the duration of the match, and it is such like. As a viewer, it is such an important thing.
Well, and it's the name you know. It's not the name.
Yeah,
it's
so
not like
it's the name of the athlete.
Yeah,
call them.
It's not like IBJJF when you have a name that you really don't know if that's the person.
And they abbreviate it. No, it's Seth puts the first name, last name, and there we go.
Yeah.
And then I can look and watch and know who's who.
It's like IBJJF tells everybody my middle name that I don't like to tell people.
Yeah. So it was great. It was fun. That was what happened this week for events. Go back and watch Fight to Win. It's on Fight TV. It's like $50 a year for Fight Plus, which is what it broadcasts on. I think it's well worth it.
A bunch of other fun things to watch on there.
Like Fight Circus.
You watch Fight Circus, which is hilarious.
They have like all the bare knuckle boxing cards like a month after they air if you don't want to get the pay-per-views. They have like Grapple Fest. So again, support Fight to Win. They put on events weekly that showcase like again
local
women
talent.
like
local talent,
women like Craver
and national talent, international talent.
So very, very happy with the Austin card. Let's move on to the preview section. Let's start with the big hitters.
Okay.
Let's start with the Spyder Invitational. It's listed on the flow as a 65-kilogram championship, but I thought that was the previous one.
No, it's two.
Yeah, which Spyder usually runs
two separate. Yeah, it's two. We tried to figure this out earlier today, and it was all like in Korean, and we were trying to like translate Korean with Google. It was fun times.
It's always fun.
But Flow Grappling has wonderfully, of course, at the last minute now put it all out so that we can see it all.
So we have a 65-kilogram bracket and a 75-kilogram bracket, as is pretty standard for Spyder. In the 65-kilogram bracket, we have the all hitters: Diego Sodre, Fabricio Andre, Kevin Carrasso, Miraman. I can never get Miraman's last name from Dream Art.
McQueen.
Yeah. Wonky Che, Shane Jamil Taylor, Lucas Pinheiro, and Sam Nagai.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is a crazy bracket. We've seen Shane on Spyder a couple of times. I think we've seen Che on there. I think we've seen Andre on there. Nagai in this mix as well. anyone in this bracket, given the right matchups, can take it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
It will be. It's gonna be a wild bracket. I wish we had more, actual like who the lineup was.
Oh, now we see. Okay, so now a little bit more information because we have Andy Morosky.
See?
We have it. He's explaining how it actually works. So
Andy Murasaki.
Yeah, Murasaki. I can't pronounce anybody's name. The three finalists, which are Diego Sodre, Fabricio Andre, and Kevin Carrasco.
Yeah.
They will choose their first match out of the black group, which is the other 5 guys that we talked about.
And this is how Spyder has. I think they've done it like this before.
Yeah. On the day of the group, out of the black group, once the finalists have chose their first match, 2 athletes will be left and they'll go against each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I think is cool. It's a cool way to do it. Like you get to pick your seeding essentially as you are the top ranked guy with the point in Spyder. You get to choose who it is.
The way the women's bracket or the women's 3x3 that your wife's doing soon, like next month or so, the way they're doing it is a coin flip. And then whoever wins the coin flip, they put out their first person. Okay. And the other team can then pick who they want from their team to go against them. So, and they're kind of using that. From
a preview perspective, I hate that kind of stuff. Yeah. But from like an at the event, like if you're watching it live hype, it's kind of cool because you like tournaments, some fighting game tournaments will do this sometimes too. Yeah. I think it's always hype because does the guy pick a hard guy first, or does he pick could you pick the guy that you want to be fresh for, or do you pick the guys you think you're going to move through the second round for in a paid tournament? It's always super hype to have a guy pick the bad matchup and then win, and you're like, you picked the hardest dude, and you beat him, and then you're moving on. You've already passed the hardest guy.
Well, it's kind of like, that's kind of like the best thing to do.
But there's arguments for it. Yeah. So that is 65
then
kilograms.
you look like a baller. Then you're like, fuck, I just took out your biggest guy.
Yeah.
What?
And then you're riding, and cool. Your next person is like, hey man, good luck. I've just beat the number 1 or the number 4 seed essentially, because you are the number 1 seed usually. It's just a cool way to do it. 65 kilogram bracket. We have Jonathan Pisana. We have
75.
Sorry, 75 kilogram. My bad. 75 kilogram bracket. Jonathan Pisana. We have a Korean name, and I'm gonna botch it. So if anyone is from Korea and can give me a better pronunciation, I always appreciate when that happens. Bonchelo Ku, Sungmoon Bayak, Andy Murasaki, Mauricio Andre, Ing Sung Jang, Lucas Valente, and Nathan Chung. So. That's a crazy bracket. I kind of want to pick Murasaki here. Yeah. Just because he has looked so good recently, especially his run at, was it Nogi Pans or was it Euros?
I think he had.
It was Nogi Pans. Nogi Pans. He looked.
I don't think his.
Sorry, Nogi Worlds. It was Nogi Worlds.
Yeah, Nogi Worlds.
Yeah, Nogi Worlds. Yeah. His finals match at Nogi Worlds.
But I mean, even his Euros matches didn't look bad. I mean,
he won Euros. Yeah. I mean, I think he submitted in the finals, sub in the finals at Euros. Like, he is crazy. We haven't seen a lot from Lucas Valente recently, but again, world medalist, silver medalist at the Worlds. I mean, possibly might have won. I thought he was I know he's a silver medalist. He's in there. Marcio Andre, always a wrench in anyone's kind of run for anything, and always in the mix in the top of the division.
And Jonathan Pisana.
Yeah, from Dream Art again. Everyone from Dream Art's crazy.
Well, they have him as the Tadade, or is it Tadade?
Let me see.
The kids project. You know, the one in Brazil.
Dream Art.
No.
Oh, Tadade's project.
Yeah, Tadade's project.
They have him. Oh, they have him. Yeah, they have him as that gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're affiliated with Dream Art.
I always mess up Tadade's name. I always like
it's an interesting
the way I look at it and the way it's pronounced is completely different. I always mess it up.
Mm-hmm. So who do you have a pick for 75 or 65?
Okay, first.
Because I'm picking for Murasaki for the 75 kilogram division. I'm gonna go Andy Murasaki without seeing the seeding.
75. I'm going Jonathan Pisana.
You're going Pisana from Dream Art.
Pisana.
Okay.
And then 65.
I always love your gut picks because I'm like, this reason, Miranda's like, I'm going with my gut.
65, I'm going Nagai.
Really?
Yeah, I'll go
I
Nagai.
think he's beat Taylor before. Lucas Panera, I think, is going to be
Panera
small
is the
for
only.
this division.
Panera is the only one that like I like. I like Panera, but he's little.
Yeah, he's really a feather. He's a light
And I mean,
featherweight
it is
guy.
gi. So with gi, you can get away with being little because you
Yeah.
can then just use your guard and get really like hangy on people. But I go Nagai.
Kind of want to go
I like-
Fabricio Andre on this.
Yeah, but after watching what's it called, like beat his ass
Oh yeah.
recently, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I can't think of
I'm blanking
that
on
match.
the name.
But was it
65 is
it
crazy.
was the B team guy, wasn't it? But that was Nogi.
Yeah, Nogi's not
Nogi.
Nagai is a good. I mean, Nagai.
But I'll go with Nagai. And they're both like
Nagai wouldn't surprise me to win. Now that I remember the Fabricio Andre match.
yeah, but that was not in gi. That
Yeah.
was in no-gi.
I'm getting this one. I know that I'm getting 65 kilograms wrong. Whatever
Yeah.
we pick, I know I'm getting it wrong. We just haven't. The thing I would love to pick Shane because I'm really familiar with his game, but we just haven't seen him. Like, we just haven't seen him a lot recently.
He didn't do Euros.
No,
Because what's it called did Euros and he didn't.
Malachi did,
Malachi did.
and he won.
And won Euros.
Yeah, he won his division.
Yeah.
And they're both from TLI.
Normally they're both like beside each other. Like when we did Gi Worlds,
Mhm.
they both lost their finals matches, but they were matched like right beside each other.
Yeah, I think Malachi's one division lower. Shane's
Yeah.
a little bigger.
Yeah.
Because Malachi's in my division.
Yeah.
Which is always.
Yeah, because he was one
Fun.
against Ellis.
Mm-hmm.
I watched both of them go against Ellis at
Yeah, Shane was
Yeah.
when I met Malachi at Naga. I competed against
Yeah,
him at Naga,
Naga.
and Shane was the division up.
Yeah,
So it
yeah,
was
yeah.
45, and then Shane was in 55.
Yeah.
At like a local Naga as a world champion in the IBJJF, and it was just very funny.
Oh, they used to do the Nagas, the local
time.
Nagas all the time. Yeah, it was fun.
I'm stalling here for a pick, but I think the guy's a good pick. I kind of want to go on. I want to go for Fabricio Andre.
Then
I think
go-
in the
go with
gi,
your gut.
Yeah, I'm going with my
Go
gut.
with your
Fabricio
gut.
Andre for 65 kilograms. Regardless, should be a crazy good tournament. They usually run really well. The theatrics are cool.
And it's on Flow, so it's easy enough.
Yeah, it's easy enough. So it should be.
Is it
should
a
be
weird
lot of fun.
time? It's at 2 a.m. on the 11th.
I
That
will
is-
not watch that.
That
I
is
will
that is a weird ass time.
Well, it's Korean time.
Well, yeah, I
So it
mean,
makes sense.
you never know. Maybe at 2 a.m. you're awake and you can't get to sleep, and you're like, "Hey, I want to watch Spyder." And you watch Spyder.
There's 2 a.m. I will definitely be asleep.
Yeah.
But should be fun. Spiders again, always great. They do one event a year, or one like major invitational a year. It is always one of the best tournaments of the year. Absolutely tune in for it. I cannot wait to cover it next week. We have a couple other things happening this next weekend. We have Summit Grappling Championship 9, which is an event. I think it's in
Arkansas.
It's in Arkansas. And that's going to be happening on Flow. We also have Midwest Finishers.
Which is it looks like a 3x3.
Yeah, so this one has some fun names in it. And so we don't have any matchups for this. We just have the
and
teams.
we don't know exactly how the teams are going against each other.
Yeah, usually it is, I forget, because Finishers does this occasionally, and I'm always confused about the format.
My thing is, if you look at it, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams, which means you have to do, 4 on each side?
They sometimes do a Group A, Group B, and then your 2 finalists will come over. So you'll do a 4 and 4, and then you'll bring your 2
to
bracket
me, it seems
sides
like
into
a
the same
lot
thing.
of teams, but maybe I'm wrong with this. But
there's one team that I think is very
with the Grandati,
with Maggie Grandati, Jasmine Hosha, and Bernales.
Yeah,
that team is going to be extremely hard to beat. It was cool. Maggie Grandati posted this week about basically wanting to close out stuff with Jasmine and compete together, and it's been basically watching her grow up through the belts and now also be a black belt with Grandati. It was kind of a heartwarming post. It's cool to see them on the same.
Not all the teams are black belts. Some of those teams are not.
Yeah. We have on one of their teams we have Peyton Letcher.
Yeah.
As well. So look out for her. She's always a wrench. She's a former Middle Eastern and African trials winner. Yeah. Always does very, very well at all the trials.
Claire North is on one of the teams. She's had some notoriety recently with
forever. I mean, she's been around for a long time.
She has, but
she's
won a couple things recently.
So again, we have 8 teams of 3 women.
And it looks
we have
like
no seeding. We don't know.
Looks like they have some super fights too, but they're not people that we really recognize. Oh, Achilles.
We have Andre Porfirio. We have Achilles on here.
Yeah.
So, it should be a fun event. We'll know more as we get closer to Midwest finishers.
Yeah.
That's sort of how we usually preview them. We'll probably talk about the title fights and then the women's bracket, which are always kind of quintet style and always fun. So
yeah, it'll be a fun event to watch.
Should be very, very fun to watch that. We also have Battle Grapple. Is that 6? VI?
Yeah, that's
6.
6. You made me double think my
Roman numerals.
My
kinda
Roman
got me
numerals
there.
for a second.
And this one happens on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and it's
February 11th.
Yeah,
so
February
it's Valentine's
11th.
Day weekend, but their theming is Valentine's Day.
And it's in Oregon.
You were gonna you were.
I
almost went
had
out
a
to this and did
friend.
it.
I had a friend who referred me to them and told me to look into them.
Is this the 170 bracket?
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
I wasn't doing 170. They had a 135 bracket, but they also had, I think it's a 135 bracket. They also had super fights. Just because, I don't know. I'm not always the best for a 35 bracket, especially when you're going all the way over to Oregon. You have to deal with all that crap.
Yeah,
but
I mean, you cut down for ADCC. To
yeah, I
like
cut to
20.
120, so I can. It's been a minute, but this was like right after Nogi Worlds that somebody told me about this.
Yeah.
And I looked into it. I wound up not doing it just because flights to Oregon are expensive as hell. I don't know why, but like
They're like $500 or $600, aren't they?
they're more than that. They're like $800.
Yeah, I looked at
It's
flying out to
cheaper.
Sug.
It's actually cheaper to fly out to like Seattle and rent a car and drive down.
So I was trying to go out to Sug because there was a Sug with one of my Craig Jones on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could watch this live. I could go see this.
Yeah.
And then I looked at it was like an $830 flight
The flights
to
are
Oregon and like a
ridiculous.
direct flight. And I went from like BWI.
And it's a long fucking flight. It's like
It's
an
cross
8 hour.
country.
It's like an 8-hour flight.
I think it's like 5.
No, it's more than that because LA's 5.
Yeah, and LA's on the other coast.
Yeah, but this is, for whatever reason, it takes longer to get there.
I'm not sure. It was a
I swear
very
it
long,
does.
expensive flight, and I
swear it
decided
does.
to not do it. My flights for Rachel and I to go to Colorado for 1FC
Are
were
expensive.
half that.
Oh.
Like in total. I think I paid
I need
like
to
4
buy.
something and half.
I'm going to Vegas over Memorial Day weekend for the punk rock bowling festival.
Hell yeah.
It's like a 3 or 4 day punk rock festival in the middle of LA, and I'm looking at flights and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. So
I'm not very happy about it.
Battle Grapple's happening this weekend. So we have a bunch of stuff coming up.
Yeah, and
this weekend.
Battle Grapple, back real quick before we leave, has a women's 170 bracket, which is not a normal thing to have.
Yeah.
It's not I wouldn't say it doesn't happen, but generally
I think
speaking,
Finishers ran one a while ago, but it's still pretty rare. Like a lot of the bigger women just don't get showcased in the same way or like at the same frequency.
but there just isn't that many. Like
Yeah.
you have
the
a
bell
few.
curve kind of falls off as
Yeah,
well.
because I know Brittany has a hard time finding people to go
Brittany
against.
Elkin.
Yeah,
Former Fight to Win champion holder, Finishers champion holder.
She's the Finishers champion
Yeah.
holder, and to find people to go against her is not an easy task.
To find people that are like that are athletic as she is, they can like physically be able to contend with her is an ask. And there's been plenty of matches that we've seen her in, which is there are some good women at those divisions now, but they just don't get showcased the same much. So I'm really happy that Battle Grapple is putting on a tournament with that weight class because it's just not something we see as much, and it is cool to have this whole event is a women's event.
Yeah.
And we have 2 events this next weekend that are women's events.
Oh yeah,
And that's awesome.
Well, it looked like Midwest Finishers. Some of the super fights were men.
Sure, the super fights are men, but like the main attraction for
Yeah.
the bracketed events are women's events, and that's like I'm really happy about that because that was not the case. I mean, IBGF has run one women's GP, but it's just cool that there are enough women
GP
now to be able to see regular women's events.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. There's a discussion about potentially ADCC, doing more women's weight classes, and
that would be nice.
I would love to see that because I think there's a really I would love to see like a 50.
I want like a mid-range weight class.
I want a 55, a 65, a 60, and a 65.
Okay.
That's what I think would make the most sense because then again you're under 55. That's
you're talking about kilograms.
Kilograms,
Okay.
yeah. And there was a discussion about it back in 2019. Back in 2019 that was like there was 2 things Mo was kind of talking about: the prize money and the women's weight classes.
Yeah.
And he was pushing for kind of both, and then pandemic happened and everything changed, and they were just like, look, let's just try to get the event done because it got pushed back a year as it is. Like, let's just try to run it. And so that's one thing I would really love to see. If we're not going to have women's qualifiers for the trials and with some of the registration numbers for some of those divisions, it might be hard to justify against 200 and plus in some of the men's divisions. At least give them another weight class, break it out.
Yeah,
into
at least give us one more weight class in there. So it's not like 100, because right now it's 132 pounds. It's 132 pounds.
And Gabby Garcia.
That's an absolute bracket at that point.
Yeah.
You are in a 132 absolute bracket for nothing.
Yeah.
If you do East Coast.
Yeah. Which is wild.
But
I guess you gotta fight Kendall.
Okay. Freaking Tom DeBlas is gonna pay you to go to West
Which
Coast.
is cool, which I appreciate.
Which is cool,
something,
and I
which is not
appreciate.
nothing.
So it's not that you don't get nothing, but in all honesty,
But it's a wildly hard.
It's a
we're talking about
wild-
ADCC trials.
Yeah.
It is a wildly hard functionally a women's absolute bracket. That you get to get an opportunity to fight in again in Vegas or wherever they run the trials this next year.
Yeah.
So
they said I think it's Atlantic City and Vegas.
yeah, which I kind of like. I kind of like this two locations. We're in the outer section at this point.
Yeah.
It was a quieter week, which I was happy
Atlantic
about.
City's kind of old.
Yeah,
It's kind of dead.
I'm happy to go to Atlantic City once every couple years or for trials.
I don't want to go back to Atlantic City. Yeah, I really don't. Like I will, but
it was not my favorite. I had a good time.
The food sucked, dude.
The food was
horrible.
The food is not great in Atlantic City, but the trials. Again, we're going for trials. Like really, whenever we go, we talk about like the city we go to. When we go for a jiu-jitsu event, it is get there, start doing prep and jiu-jitsu stuff, sleep. Usually we have like the first couple hours of the day, of like the day we get there to do kind of something. But usually we're getting in there on a day where we have like a referee seminar.
And normally normally it's like 2 days before I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna register.
And then it's like, okay.
So you're getting prepped for it, and then usually we're going, and then they're usually 12+ hour days, 12 to 18 hour days.
They're long days. Add competing, add being nervous, add friends competing and chaos.
And then watching and like, okay, cool, we finished competing. Now we get to just go and watch the rest of like this high level tournament.
Yeah.
And then usually I'll push everyone like, let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, Maine, I hate you. Yeah. All right, let's do it. We do a podcast for day one. And then we finish that usually at like
Next time we
11 p.m.
we need
midnight.
to like do it in like a closet or something, because doing it in the big ass room we did in Vegas didn't work because it like just bounced off the walls.
You live and learn.
Yeah.
And then the next day it's day two, and we kind of do the same thing. So usually they're back to back.
You know what we should do? We should
days.
so do it on like a balcony somewhere.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
And I'll have to edit the audio, and that would never work out. So, you have any big jiu-jitsu trips planned this week? This year.
This weekend. So this weekend I might go up to New Jersey, New York, and ref Good Fight, which might be fun.
You get a bunch of the New York folks up there.
Yeah, it might be.
So everything
might be a long day.
Is anything running in New York anymore? Do you know?
Tournament wise?
Yeah.
No, because remember the
blood testing stuff.
The blood testing stuff kind of threw everything out.
Yeah.
And so they don't do anything.
New York a couple of years, we haven't talked about it in a while, but New
like
York
Hudson Valley Grappling and like all the events that are like in the New York area, they require you to have blood work for grappling.
And that was a change that happened a couple of years ago because of the commission. Because some places have commissions for grappling, some places do not.
Yeah.
Most places do not. Not most, like about half.
Well,
half the states don't have commissions at all.
They don't really care.
Yeah. But New York a couple of years ago decided that because it was a combat sport technically, and there was a potential for blood contact, they required you to go get blood testing.
So Hudson Valley also sends you like this, because I wasn't on the card, but I was like a backup for the card. And they send you this like 5-page like medical thing. Like they ask you all kinds of shit.
Which is not necessarily like, I'm not, for combat sports and grappling, I'm not upset about it, but it is like non-standard.
If I was fighting, that's one thing.
Yeah.
I'm grappling.
We're grappling.
Come on now. You don't need to know about all kinds of random shit about my life if I'm grappling.
So a lot of New York, as a result though, a lot of New York events have been moved to New Jersey, and New York proper doesn't have a lot of events anymore. I think Kasai
hasn't happened.
And because this whole issue happened at Kasai, essentially, because Gordon Ryan was scheduled to be on Kasai.
The whole hepatitis thing.
The hepatitis thing, when he was childhood hepatitis, he basically could not get not the waiver, but like the finalization of the testing.
You know, the haters don't come. He didn't have hepatitis.
No.
He had taken the drugs to get rid of it because he had it when he was born. and then no longer had it, but it still showed up in his bloodstream.
And the antibody titer.
Yeah.
So this whole thing came about. IBJJF no longer runs events there. Good Fight doesn't run events anymore. Like a lot of events just don't rise, doesn't run in New York anymore.
Well, because they just can't.
Yeah, because all the testing and everyone. Yeah, for grappling.
IBJJF doesn't do it anymore.
Nope, they don't do New York Pro anymore.
No.
So it's been really interesting. It's been kind of unfortunate. It's sort of the similar problem that Brand St. Marie talked about in Canada, where there's a province in Canada, Quebec, where grappling is just not allowed. Like it's a ban on certain types of martial arts competition, and grappling is included in that. And it's been very interesting to kind of watch
the legalization
and then the illegalization.
That's a little bit different. That's not a commission that's doing it. That's a state department.
It's a province. It kind of makes a determination, but it's been interesting to watch kind of the locations that reminds you kind of early UFC, where certain places.
I forgot what else I did. I signed up to work PANs, so I might actually work PANs.
IBJJF PANs?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Might be staff for PANs.
That's crazy. You can be rude to me again, like they were in 2016.
What?
The staff was incredibly rude to me at PANs when I went to New York PANs.
They're always rude. Yeah. But
I was just shocked for how much money we had paid and how pleasant I was to everyone, how rude the staff was to me. And I was like, it was very
staff is
wild.
Always interesting to deal with.
So hopefully you can buck the trend there.
My thought process is if I start reffing and getting all this stuff, maybe I can get some random ginger, blood into the mix, and
the IBJJF mix.
And I can change things up from the inside out. Maybe not really, but
that's the goal.
Yeah.
So any other cool trips planned? Anything else like that?
Trying to think. No, I'm gonna go luge. I'm gonna learn to luge in a couple weeks, which will be fun.
Sweet.
I don't think I have any jiu-jitsu plans.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do some more traveling this year.
I'm trying to get the leg fixed. The leg is almost fixed. Yeah, almost there.
I'm trying to do more traveling this year because previously with the back surgery and everything else, just had about 4 years where I just really didn't travel locally because I was so banged up and injured that I just couldn't really keep myself safe in gyms that weren't my home gym.
Yeah.
And so now I'm looking to looking to go and travel again.
We should go do a Marcelo Unity trip.
Yeah, we should do that again.
Because that's fun.
So I've missed on every single one of those trips.
You've never got to go
I've never gone up there, because I've always been injured, and so we want to go up to Philly to my affiliate up there.
Could also go to we can also go to Essential. Essential's fun.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of gyms. I just haven't got a chance to go and actually visit, travel, and train. So I'm hoping in this Colorado trip, because I went out to Colorado. Rich and I went out probably 2017 to see family for a whole week, and we trained out there for a week, and it was great. It was awesome.
Your wife told me recently she's never been to Florida.
I know.
You need to take her to Florida.
We're trying to do it in February.
Okay.
So we're trying to do it in the next couple of weeks. We're trying to go down to Florida because she has to get a tattoo finished. Yeah. And I want to go train. My parents are down there right now, and so it would be cool to go and train and travel.
Will basically lives down there now, so he could probably take you all around and show you the good places.
And we have some people down in Florida, so making the goal this year to travel and train more and enjoy the jiu-jitsu community abroad. Yeah. And it should be a lot of fun.
I have a good time when I travel and train, but I'm also a small woman. Yeah. So they don't really whoop up on me as much.
I'm a tiny man. They put me with the gym enforcer the first round and go, "Oh, you're cool. Okay." And that's every time I do travel now, it's the first round is gym enforcer round where they go, "Hey, you." And then I roll not like an asshole, and they're like, "Oh, you're fine, okay." And they throw me to Gen Pop and go "Yeah, whatever you want to do." And cool. Do you guys do leg locks? They're like, "Just be reasonable." I'm like, "That's a no. Yeah. That's a don't leg lock our gym, please." And it's always good.
I wait to see if they leg lock me, and that's when I go balls to the wall.
Honestly, I just use my words and ask nowadays. Do you guys do leg locks? Just so I know.
I wait to see if they do it to me. If they do it to me, then I know it's on.
Yeah, but I don't want to. I don't want to be finding that out in a round because I'm gonna roll a little differently if I know that, depending on how they're on the table, what answer I get.
They're gonna go after your feet.
Are they a foot gym? Or are they we're okay with it, or they're, hey, we're not really a foot gym, and I just want to know ahead of time when I'm training, so that I can not have a faux pas and have the second gym enforcer round where he's like, oh, you're a foot guy now, and then he tries to break my foot in vacation because I'm always going for vacation too,
true.
So I don't want to get my foot broken on vacation and then oh, I just didn't ask the question.
True.
So
we are in the outro and we're doing a way long outro.
No, whatever, having a good time.
Whatever,
it's been good. So you got anything else?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. As always, the show, I'm your host, Maine, the co-host,
Miranda.
We're the Grappling Around to the mat. Whatever it is, stay safe. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
Let us know.
reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.